imagine a time way back, I mean, before the pyramids, even before those famous pharaohs with the golden crowns. Think a really chaotic time.
Right.
Scattered tribes across ancient Egypt. And out of this sort of forgotten era emerges this shadowy warrior king, known only by, well, a symbol, the scorpion, right? So in this deep dive, we're going to try and unpack the story, compelling but definitely fragmented, of King Scorpion II. You've shared some really fascinating sources, and our mission really is to pull out the key bits of knowledge, the insights about this pivotal ruler from the Proto-dynastic times.
Precisely. We'll look at the clues he left, which are limited, sure, but also quite powerful, and try to understand his role, which seems pretty crucial in setting the stage for, the unification of ancient Egypt.
Right.
It's like a journey back to the very dawn of this incredible civilization.
Okay, so let's start piecing this together. King Scorpion II, where does he actually fit in the timeline? And this name, it sounds like there's a whole lot of mystery just around the name itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So King Scorpion II, he's a ruler from the Proto-dynastic period. That's Upper Egypt, roughly 3200 to 3000 BCE. Now, the name. One really interesting thing is this golden rosette symbol. 6 or 7 leaves. It often comes right before his name symbol. And scholars, well, they really debate what it means, how to read it even.
Like what?
Some suggest Neb, which means Lord, or maybe Nez, for king. What's quite insightful, though, is it might be an early version of the royal Serek. You know that rectangular thing? Looks like a palace facade.
Oh, right. Where they put the king's name.
Exactly. And later on, that rosette symbol gets linked to the goddess Seshat.
Okay, so the rosette is one mystery, but then the scorpion itself always just assumed, goddess Selkut, fierce protector, something like that.
That's a really common thought, but scholars like Morenz and Toby Wilkinson, they argue Selkut actually comes in much later, late Old Kingdom.
Okay, so not back then.
Probably not. So in this very early context, the scorpion likely meant something different, more primal, maybe. Some interpretations, though these are pretty debated, suggest things like poison or illness, even bad breath, apparently.
Bad breath? Really?
Yeah, kind of strange. But the more accepted view, especially thinking militarily, is it symbolized storm or attack, a powerful force.
Makes sense for a warrior king.
It does, and because we're not sure about the rosette or the scorpion's exact meaning, scholars just conventionally call him King Scorpion II. It's safer.
It's still kind of mind-blowing that someone so important is so fuzzy. Does this whole identity debate mean he might actually be someone else we know?
Yeah.
Just under a different name?
That's exactly the question people are asking. And there are basically 2 main theories floating around. One idea, and you have Egyptologists like Bernadette Menu supporting this, is that Scorpion II could actually be the same person as Narmer.
Narmer, the unifier guy.
The very one, yeah. Their reasoning comes down to the art style on their mace heads. They look strikingly similar. So maybe Scorpion was just another name for Narmer, or maybe an extra title he used.
Okay. But there's a counter-argument, too. You said 2 theories.
Right. The other side, with scholars like T.H. Wilkinson and Bruce Trigger, sees Scorpion II as a Gegenkönig.
A what?
A Gegenkönig. It's German for opponent ruler.
So a rival.
Exactly. A rival to Narmer, and also maybe to another king called Ka. Remember, Egypt back then wasn't one country. It was divided into these little kingdoms, often fighting each other.
Okay.
So this theory suggests Narmer maybe unified Egypt by basically conquering these rivals like Ka and Scorpion II, power consolidation through war.
Wow. Okay, so whether he was Narmer or a rival, the actual clues he left are pretty cool. And the big one, the most famous, has to be that scorpion mace head, right? Seems like it holds so much information.
Oh, it's absolutely fundamental, a cornerstone for understanding this whole period. It was found way back in the late 1890s in the main deposit at Nekhen, that's Hierakonpolis by Quibell and Green.
And where is it now?
It's in the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford, and it dates right to the very end of the pre-dynastic period.
Okay, so the picture on it, the main guy, the king, big figure, wearing the white crown of Upper Egypt, and he's holding a hoe. That feels very agricultural, prosperity. What's the message there?
Well, it's definitely about agriculture, but it's much deeper than just, digging. It's a huge statement about what kingship meant back then. He's likely performing a ritual.
Like what kind of ritual?
Like ceremonially cutting the first furrow in a field maybe, or opening irrigation dikes. It casts him as this divine figure who brings prosperity, order, civilization itself. It's foundational for the pharaohs who came later.
Right, like setting the precedent.
Exactly. And the style, the iconography, it's actually quite similar in ways to the Narmer palette, suggests a developing tradition of royal power linked to the land.
So it wasn't just about him alone, but showing this whole system working. What else is going on in the scene?
Absolutely. You see other figures, servants in front of the king. One looks like he's throwing seeds, another's carrying sheaves of grain. It reinforces that idea of a sowing festival or maybe a founding ceremony for a city like Nekhen or Buto, possibly even connected to the later Sed festival.
Okay.
And there are standard bearers too, again, like on the Narmer palette, and you see a landscape with people, houses, hints of an organized society under his control.
Now, looking really close at that mace head, is there anything hinting at maybe bigger ambitions, power beyond just Upper Egypt?
Yes, absolutely. This is where it gets really interesting. If you look carefully behind the king, past the fan bearers and dancers, scholars have spotted faint traces, what they think is the coil of the red crown, the crown of Lower Egypt, and a second golden rosette.
No way.
Yeah.
So he might have been shown wearing both crowns.
That's the interpretation. It suggests the scene originally showed Scorpion II wearing the red crown too, which would imply a claim, a very powerful claim, to rule all of Egypt, not just the south.
That's huge for that period.
It really is a subtle detail, but it speaks volumes about his potential ambition.
And then there's that scene at the top. The symbolism there seems pretty violent, stark.
It is stark, yes. You see divine standards, gods like Set, Min, Nemti, but alongside them, you see what look like hanged lapwing birds and hunting bows.
What do those mean?
Well, the lapwings are generally thought to represent lower Egyptian folks, or maybe just common folk. The bows often symbolize enemies, maybe folk of archers or hostile tribes, perhaps from Asia.
It's a conquest.
The implication is pretty clear, yes.
Yeah.
Scorpion II wasn't just building things, he was actively attacking Lower Egypt, maybe other enemies on the borders. It paints a picture of him really setting the stage, clearing the path, you might say, for Narmer's later, more complete unification. Intense power politics right at the start.
Okay, so the mace head is this amazing snapshot.
Yeah.
You mentioned other clues, smaller finds.
Oh, definitely. Lots of small ivory tags, for instance. They've turned up at sites like Abydos, Minsharabu Omar, Tarkhan.
What do they show?
Different things. Some show the scorpion holding the hieroglyph for nome or land, maybe showing he ruled a specific district. Others have the scorpion over a swallow sign. That reads something like, the scorpion is great.
Subtle.
Right? And there's even one unique tag showing the scorpion actually smiting an enemy with a stick. Very direct.
Wow.
And many of these tags, interestingly, show a little shrine on the back with a heron on it. That might suggest he originally came from Buto in the Delta.
Okay. What about carvings on rocks or pots? Anything there?
Yeah, there are some disputed inscriptions. On stone and clay vessels from Tarkhan and Minsha Abu Omar, you find these royal syrinx. Some Egyptologists see a stylized scorpion in there. Others think it's just a messy drawing of King Ka's name, so bit uncertain. But maybe more convincing is a big rock carving found way down in Sudan at Gebel Sheikh Suleiman. It shows a huge scorpion figure literally walking over dead Nubians. You can tell they're Nubians from the ostrich feathers and bows. Yeah. And there's another figure, human-like, with the false beard of royalty and a knife, holding captured Nubians. It's pretty widely seen as King Scorpion II celebrating a big victory against Nubians to the south, extending his power that way.
So, military power, agriculture, hints of unification. Let's zoom out a bit. What was the bigger picture during his reign? The politics, the power structures, religion.
Well, the artifacts and pottery definitely point to a pretty lively trade economy happening during Scorpion II's time. Things were moving around. And what's really interesting is that this is when we see the very first hieroglyphic writings for Lower Egypt and Upper Egypt appear.
So they were thinking in those terms already.
It seems so. Now, it doesn't mean Egypt was unified. It was still divided politically. But it suggests these regions were starting to develop, maybe, a shared administrative language. Perhaps even the beginnings of common cultural ideas. Laying groundwork.
And where did the king's power actually come from? It wasn't just fighting, was it? Something deeper.
No, not just fighting. Scholars like Chiejevich and Karl Butzer connect the power of these early kings very strongly to irrigation.
Controlling the water.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Building and managing these big irrigation systems. You see hints of it on the pallets and mace heads, farming scenes, plants, water, which raises a really fascinating question for us, you know?
Yeah.
Did these kings maybe deliberately manage or even limit irrigation access?
Why would they do that?
To maintain control, to keep their power, their influence, their wealth concentrated. By controlling the water, they control the people who depend on it.
Wow. Environmental control as political tool, right from the start.
It's a compelling idea about how early states cemented their power.
And religion. It seems like it was already pretty complex back then.
Oh, absolutely. You see all these depictions of divine standards and fetishes, gods like Horus, Seth, Min, Nekhbet. It shows a really developed religious system already. And since these standards often appear in battle scenes, one theory is that battles themselves might have been seen as, like, cultic events.
Secret warfare.
Possibly, with divine approval, divine involvement. We just don't know the specific cult centers yet because place name hieroglyphs weren't really a thing then.
Okay, and speaking of imagery, we get these really weird, cool, mythical creatures showing up, too. Serpopards. Winged chimeras, what's their deal?
Yeah, the serpopard, that's the creature with the long, snaky neck, often leopard-like body. It's on the Narmer palette, the two dogs palette. Its ancient name seems to have been Suija, meaning something like undestroyable, and it was maybe linked to the sun's movement.
Okay.
On the Narmer palette, you see two of them with their necks intertwined. That's often read as an allegory for Egypt's unification.
Right, bringing things together.
But under Scorpion II, there's a depiction of them tearing apart a gazelle. That might imply the king's power over these chaotic, mythical forces, dominance.
Controlling chaos itself. And the winged chimera.
Those were called Sefer, apparently meaning chaos or violence. They pop up on other artifacts too. But here's the really fascinating part about both the serpopard and the chimera. And actually other motifs too, like a hero fighting two lions or giraffes. They are clearly Mesopotamian in origin.
Wait, Mesopotamian, like from Sumer and Akkad. In early Egypt.
Exactly. It's one of the most surprising things about this period. There seems to have been this really strong, quite extensive influence from Mesopotamian culture and religion on early Egypt.
How do we know that?
We see it in things like how they built complex tombs, the techniques used at places like Minshat Abu Omar, Hierakonpolis, Nakata. They clearly copied Mesopotamian designs, plus traded goods show up. Mesopotamian tools, bead collars, cylinder seals.
Huh. I always thought of Egypt as being so separate.
It's a common perception. And this evidence actually led to an older theory, the dynastic race theory.
Which was?
The idea that the first Egyptian rulers, the founders, were actually Mesopotamian immigrants who came in and took over.
Okay, but we don't think that anymore.
No, that's been pretty thoroughly debunked. Modern scholars have abandoned it. The consensus now, strongly backed by archaeology, is that Egyptian civilization grew organically, indigenously, right there in the Nile Valley. It has African roots, developing from the cultures already present.
So the Mesopotamian stuff was more like cultural borrowing, a phase.
Seems like it. A significant phase for sure, but temporary. Because during Scorpion II's time, and especially with the kings who came right after him, that Mesopotamian influence starts to fade noticeably.
So Egypt starts becoming more
Egyptian.
Exactly. It's like they absorbed some ideas, but then pivoted to developing their own distinct culture. A really crucial step towards becoming the powerful, unique civilization we know.
Okay, so we have all these amazing clues, this developing picture, but his actual tomb, still missing. Still a mystery. Frustratingly so. There are two main candidates based on finds. One is Tomb B50 at El Ka'ab near Abydos. The other is Tomb HK61 back at Hierakonpolis.
Why those two?
Because both tombs contained ivory tags with scorpion figures on them. It links them to him, potentially. But no definitive proof saying Scorpion II was buried here. Still elusive.
So he really does remain this incredibly important, yet still quite shadowy figure right at the birth of ancient Egypt.
Absolutely. And his story, or what we can piece together of it, really highlights something important, which is that the origins of these huge civilizations, like Egypt's, weren't usually down to one single famous person doing one big thing.
Right. Not just Narmer suddenly unifying everything.
Exactly. It was a long process, often arduous, involving consolidation, conflict, war, led by these powerful figures like Scorpion II, who are now largely unknown or hazy to us.
A proto-pharaoh, you could say.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. A unifier, a ritual leader, a warrior. His legacy is fragmented, sure, but it absolutely endured and shaped what came next.
And it's clearly a legacy that still fascinates people today, even if they don't know the historical details. I mean, you've got William Golding's novella, The Scorpion Guide. You've got the Mummy Returns movies and all the spin-offs with the Scorpion King character.
Right, played by The Rock, hugely popular.
Yeah. And even children's books like Jackie French's Pharaoh. Obviously, these are super fictionalized takes.
Oh, completely fictionalized. But they tap into that enduring mystique, don't they? The allure of these foundational, powerful, slightly mysterious figures from the ancient past.
Definitely. So thinking about all this,
Yeah.
what's the final takeaway for us, for you listening? This whole deep dive, it really makes you think, doesn't it? If someone as seemingly fundamental as King Scorpion II, right at the start of ancient Egypt, is still so wrapped in mystery, what other incredible stories, what other founding figures or transformative moments, not just in Egypt, but any ancient civilization, are still out there, still buried, waiting to be discovered?
Hmm. It's a profound thought. It reminds us that history is constantly being rewritten, rediscovered. And maybe the most profound stories, the ones that could really change our understanding, are the ones we haven't fully uncovered yet, still waiting in the sands of time.